Alright, so today's Tuesday. That means you are subject to me for a bit. And this week I'm going to be reviewing Insurgent, which is a sequel to Divergent, which I reviewed in a previous video. It will be on the playlist. And Struck by Lightning by Colfer, which I think has been recently made into a movie, although I'm not sure whether it's out yet. So, Insurgent. If you watch the video on Divergent, it outlines this post-apocalyptic Chicago that Triss lives in. At the start of Insurgent, the factions are in chaos. Triss has to seek refuge in another faction, Amity. Amity are the nice ones, the ones that blame the world's problems on people being angry and not trying to keep the peace. However, what I think is interesting with this novel is how it puts across quite big questions, but in an easy-to-read format. The reason that Amity is the way it is because half the time the population is basically drugged to feel happy. Now, they're safe and they are happy, but they're not free. I guess that is the point of Triss's time in Amity. I think she wants to be happy, but not in that way. You also learn a lot in this novel about the factionless, people who don't fit in or haven't completed initiation for either of the 5 factions. Now, they're very interesting because they don't fit into the way that this city has been organised, but they do seem a lot happier than most of its inhabitants. What does that say about us in the modern day world? Do we want to fit everyone into nice shiny little boxes, or would we rather that people chose their own way? Again, as with Divergent, Insurgent doesn't have the best writing, and the love story and various parts of it don't really get to me. I mean, Triss and Four aren't exactly Hazel and Augustus. However, I do think it's a good read, and I am looking forward to the next book coming out, which should be soon. And finally we can resolve this horrible drama llama of a novel. On to Struck by Lightning. I read this probably a couple of weeks ago, so my memory is a tiny bit hazy, but I really did enjoy this book. I'm going to start off by saying that it's probably not a masterpiece. I mean, it was written by an actor rather than a writer. However, I did enjoy it, and I will be really interested to see the movie. It's basically about this guy, Carson Phillips, and his relationship to his town and his school. He lives in a tiny little town in California, and he's desperate to get out of there. He's being forced to engage in his community if he wants to go to college. I think it's interesting because the character Carson actually reminded me quite a lot of myself, and I guess it reminded me that I should be more engaged and be more friendly, I guess. What really got to me is Carson first writes about when he was little, and I mean his family seems fairly normal. Then you fast forward into his life as he's writing, and you realise that it's not perfect at all. His parents have divorced, he doesn't see his father, and his mother spends her days in a drunken haze. His grandmother doesn't recognise him anymore. That's a side effect of having dementia. And I guess I just feel really, really sorry for him. He's obviously unhappy. It's just, I guess it was difficult. I did, however, really like the story, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending, it's a real punch in the stomach. Really, really unexpected. This week I'm going to try and get hold of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I'll be working my way through that for the next couple of episodes. Alright?